AFC West Champions. That sounds pretty good. What's up, Broncos country? My name is Brandon Gilchrist. Well, here we are, Week 18, last game of the season, and your Denver Broncos sit as the AFC West champions. For the first time in 10 years, our Broncos dethrone the Kansas City Chiefs. And though that is quite an accomplishment, it's no time to stop now. We still got work to do. In Sean Payton's own words, this was the first of 3 goals that the Broncos have this year. The first was winning the West. The second is getting the best seeding possible for the postseason. The Broncos sit in great position to get the best seeding in the postseason. And number 3, get that championship. The Broncos very much focused this week on completing goal number 2. They control their own destiny. They just got to get the job done this week, and they secure home field advantage in the playoffs. Now, before we talk about this matchup, let's talk about the word on the beat this week. The Broncos made a few transactions over the past week. Starting with the practice squad, the Broncos signed Cody Slater to the practice squad after waiving him to make room for starting guard Ben Powers back on the active roster. The Broncos also signed Calvin Throckmorton to the practice squad after waiving him to make room when they signed center Sam Mustipher to the active roster. Now, Sam Mustipher most recently was with the Chargers, but spent the 2024 offseason with the Broncos, so he's very familiar with the Broncos offense. With Luke Wattenberg being moved to IR and Alex Forsythe moving up to starting center, they needed a backup. All right, with that, let's talk about this matchup. Now, the Broncos haven't played the Chargers since week 3, so we will dive a little bit deeper into some of the changes that have happened, the coaching staff and their philosophies, and the type of offense and defense the Broncos will be facing. And obviously, there's some significant news with the Chargers opting to sit starting quarterback Justin Herbert along with some key starters who may be banged up in this one in favor of being more healthy for their postseason run. Now, the Chargers sit at 11-5. Their head coach Jim Harbaugh enters his second year as head coach of the Chargers. And it started out well for him. The Chargers have had 10+ wins in both seasons that Jim Harbaugh has been their head coach. He comes off of winning a national championship, being the head coach for the University of Michigan. And prior to that, Jim previously found success in the NFL as head coach for the San Francisco 49ers, where he made a Super Bowl appearance. Known as an eccentric, players-first, intense head coach, Jim Harbaugh and his brother John Harbaugh have found a lot of success in the NFL and know how to change a culture and create a winning team. Now, since we saw the Chargers last in week 3, they battled a string of injuries this year, including on their offensive line, at running back, and at quarterback. They're coming off a tough loss against the Texans, which took them out of the division race, and now currently sit as the 6th seed in the playoff picture. The Chargers are a very well-balanced team that prides himself on the run, playing tough physical defense, and taking the ball away. Your Broncos sit at 13-3, AFC West champions, looking to secure the number 1 seed in Week 18 to secure home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Now, the last time the Broncos played the Chargers, they led late into the 4th quarter before Justin Herbert put together 2 amazing drives to tie up the game and then secure the win for the Chargers. This was one of only 2 losses for the Broncos before they went on their 11-game winning streak. So you know they're hungry to get back at the Chargers. Let's take a look at the Broncos defense versus the Chargers offense. The Broncos are coming off an excellent performance on Christmas night against the Chiefs, where they played suffocating defense. They remain the league leader in sacks with 64, the number 2 red zone defense in the league, and the best third down defense. They held KC to 4 of 11 on third down, 139 total yards of offense. They pressured Oladokin 40% of his dropbacks, holding him to a 54.8% completion and only 57 yards passing. Yeah, I said that right. 57 yards passing and 1 sack. Now, the Chargers offense is coordinated by Greg Roman. Now, that name may sound familiar because he's been a coordinator in the league for a long time. Before becoming the offensive coordinator for the Chargers in 2024, he was the OC for the Ravens from 2019 to 2022. And prior to that, he was an offensive assistant 2017 and 2018, also for the Ravens. The Chargers offense is currently ranked 11th in the league at 341.1 yards a game, 219 yards passing a game, good for 15th, 122.1 rushing yards a game, good for 12th, and they average 22.8 points a game, good for 17th. Additionally, their offense converts on third down 47.2% of the time, good for third in the league, and they convert in the red zone 50% of the time, good for 27th. Now, Greg Roman runs a run-first offense complemented with play-action matchup-based passing concepts. Not known as an extremely vertical scheme, they really focus on efficiency and moving the ball methodically down the field. 2025 has been a tough one for this offense when it comes to consistency, primarily because of the changes that have happened on the offensive line and their challenge at protecting Justin Herbert behind center. They've also been plagued by drops and an inconsistent run game. When we look at the O-line, they're currently allowing a 43.7% pressure rate. That's the most in the NFL. Their starting tackle, Joe Alt, who the Broncos saw last time, is now out and on IR after a season-ending injury. Prior to that, their other starting tackle, Rashawn Slater, is also on IR with season-ending injury. Unfortunately for the Chargers, they've had so many injuries on their offensive line that they've even moved guards to tackles in trying to create the best combination of players on the line to protect Justin Herbert. Next Gen Stats says they've had 17 different offensive line combinations in 2025. For this game, I would expect the Chargers to even bring an extra offensive lineman onto the field to try to protect the quarterback and give them time because of the Broncos pass rush. Now, we'll have to wait till Sunday to see if Amarian Hampton is going to start or not, or allow him to get more reps because he's a rookie. Amarian Hampton is their 2025 first round pick, and he's been everything the Chargers hoped he would be. A tough, physical back who can be an all-purpose running back, explosive speed, and great at yards after contact. Right now, he's averaging 4.4 yards a carry, and he can be used out of the backfield. Last week against the Texans, he had a career-high 8 catches. They also have another running back in Kamani Vidal, who played well when Omarion Hampton was out, and they've also been a great combination together. Vidal himself is averaging 4.2 yards a carry. He has great contact balance and also has great burst out of the backfield. When we look at the passing game, the Broncos won't see Justin Herbert this week. Starting behind center will be Trey Lance. Now, Trey Lance is a former first-round pick for the San Francisco 49ers in 2021. A string of injuries and the rise of Brock Purdy saw Trey get traded to the Dallas Cowboys, where he was a backup for 2023 and 2024. Known as a mobile, athletic QB with a big arm, Trey can make the big play down the field, but his greatest weapon is his legs. I would expect this week the Broncos will see a much larger dose of the running game and Trey Lance being used also in the running game. When he gets pressured, Trey Lance can get erratic when it comes to his passing game, and he has been known to toss up a few questionable interceptions. Because he's looking for the big play down the field, he also tends to hold on to the ball a long time. Now, again, because we don't know who's going to be sitting and who's going to be starting for the Chargers, there's a couple key people that we'll be keeping our eye on, starting with Ladd McConkey. This is the do-it-all wide receiver for the Chargers. He's an excellent route runner, and is the guy that Justin Herbert and I would imagine Trey Lance will be looking for when it comes to moving the chains if he's playing. Quentin Johnston has also been a great target. He's the deep play threat, 6'4", 215 pounds with great body control. He's the jump ball guy for the Chargers. And then you have Keenan Allen, who is the most tenured wide receiver for the Chargers, and what I would say is the old reliable. When a big play is needed, when a big third down is needed, when a red zone catch is needed, Justin Herbert looks to Keenan Allen to make that play for him. And I would imagine it'll be the same for Trey Lance if Keenan Allen is a go. The Chargers also have a great tight end in Arondé Gadsden, who has emerged as a favorite target for Justin Herbert as well. One of his unique characteristics is that of all the tight ends in the NFL, he's been looked at as a deep threat in the Chargers offense. Part of this is because he is a former wide receiver, so his hands and his speed, combined with his size, is unique. Keep an eye on the notes and the health reports at the end of this video to find out who's a go and who's a not for this game. So what's the plan for all 11 on defense against this Chargers offense? Number one, attack the football. The weakest point of this entire offense is obviously the offensive line. Show them different looks, make them make different checks, load different sides of the line to make them have to think is a huge key in this one. Now, we all know A-gap pressure, which is the gaps on each side of the center, is the worst place for a quarterback to see pressure. And in this one, with the types of rushers that the Broncos have on their defensive line, I think there's a huge opportunity for sacks up the A-gap. Sending run blitzes and using our edge rushers to contain Trey Lance and his legs and allowing the Zach Allens, the DJ Joneses, the Jonathan Franklin Myers, the Malcolm Roaches to attack up front and not only stop the run, but get Trey Lance on the ground would be a great way to be aggressive in this one and not just cage rush, which I know is the default way that the Broncos handle mobile quarterbacks. But I think we should take the risk and attack. Don't give the quarterback time to think. This isn't a time for our pass rush to play scared. Priority number 2, turnover time. Now the Broncos are top 10 in pretty much every defensive stat out there. The exception to that is when it comes to turnovers and takeaways. And in the playoffs, having takeaways and giving your offense extra possessions is key to winning football games. So why not get some practice at it in week 18? Now the Broncos have been known for playing a lot of man. Now the drawback to man, you're watching the route runner. You don't have your eyes on the quarterback at all. But I think this week is an opportunity for the Broncos to play a bit more zone with their eyes focused on the quarterback. If the pass rush gets home quickly, if they can force Trey Lance to be erratic, the ball will be up in the air to be able to secure and be picked off. So let's play a little bit more zone in this one and start finding our legs when it comes to finding turnovers for the playoffs. The other piece that I haven't seen a lot with the Broncos defense this year is punching when they're tackling. The Broncos are great tacklers, but I would love to see them trying to punch out the ball while making the tackle a lot more. And this week is a great opportunity to refine that skill, to see if we can't knock that ball free. All right, let's take a look at this Broncos offense versus the Chargers defense. Now the Broncos offense is coming off a very solid day against KC. 303 total yards of offense. We saw Bo Nix pass for a touchdown and also rush for a touchdown in this one. RJ continues to be a touchdown machine. He added another receiving touchdown. I think my favorite statistic was that the Broncos went 11 for 18 against the Spagnuolo defense. It was a complete ball control offense type of game plan that didn't even give KC a chance in this one, regardless of what the score actually shows. Also in the Broncos offense, for the first time in his career after this KC performance, Courtland Sutton achieved back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving seasons. I'm also hoping that this week the Broncos offense will see Pat Bryant back in the lineup. He is not only a reliable target, but an explosive receiver for the Broncos and helps them stretch the field. When we look at the Chargers defense, it's coordinated by Jesse Minter. Now Jesse joined as the defensive coordinator in 2024 with Harbaugh, coming over from Michigan, where he also won a national title as the defensive coordinator for Michigan. The Chargers defense currently is ranked 4th in the league, allowing 288.1 yards a game. They allow 183.4 passing yards a game, good for 6th. 104.7 rushing yards a game, good for 9th, and they only allow 20.1 points a game, good for 8th. They are also top 5 when it comes to red zone defense, only allowing 50% touchdown conversion, and their third down defense, they only allow 35.8%, which is good for 6th. Now the Chargers run an interesting defense in that it's sort of a 4-2-5, meaning 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, and 5 defensive backs type of defense. And this is because they like the flexibility. It allows them to use hybrid defensive backs like a Derwin James all over the field, whether that's lined up as safety, lined up at linebacker, or even lined up on the line of scrimmage. And what this does is causes chaos and confusion for the quarterback in what they're seeing. The Chargers love to sit still pre-snap and then rotate into a different coverage post-snap. They also love to position their coverage with eyes on the quarterback to be able to take the ball away. The Chargers are currently running some type of zone coverage about 80% of a quarterback's dropbacks this year. And they don't blitz that often, but when they do, it's effective. They're having a very solid 2025, with their secondary being the strength of the defense, 23 takeaways on the season. They've allowed big plays a handful of times in each of their games, but they adjust well as the game goes on. When we look at their front seven, you have players like Khalil Mack, Tuli Tuapulatu, who is their true pressure generator on that front seven, Odafe Awe, who's a first-round linebacker that they traded for from the Baltimore Ravens, who's also great at generating pressure. Their front seven, as particularly that linebacking core, is fast, physical, and can really cover the field. It doesn't get any easier on the back end when you have safety Derwin James in the mix, who can line up all over the field and is very effective in the blitz. He's one that the Broncos will have to account for on every single snap. So what's the plan for all 11 on the Broncos offense against the Chargers defense? Priority number 1, own the line of scrimmage. The Broncos have an opportunity here to take control of this game from the beginning, and it starts up front on that offensive line. Start the game with them going forward and establishing the running game with RJ Harvey and Jaleel McLaughlin. This is a great opportunity to also get creative in the run game with misdirection, different looks, including mixed zone and gap running. The Chargers have allowed big runs at times. So why not test that early in the game? Number 2 on this one, speed it up. One of the greatest home field advantages that Mile High has is its altitude. We don't call it Mile High for nothing. If we can mix staying on the field with the muddle huddle or up tempo of our offense, we can tire these guys out early. We've started to see Bo use his feet just a little bit more over the last couple weeks, and I think that should continue in this one. Blend him into the running game or encourage him to run even when he's dropping back. If the first down's there, just go get it. Keep him on the field, tire this defense out. By the fourth quarter, we'll see them sucking oxygen on the sideline. We can already have this game put away. I think we should test them deep early. You saw 2 touchdowns scored early on the Chargers defense when they played the Texans. Use Mims, use Franklin, use Ingram to challenge deep or to attack the seams in their zone coverage. And then the quick game can be used as more of the change up or to help the chains keep moving. When we look at special teams, the Chargers special teams is coordinated by Ryan Fiken. He's been the special teams coordinator since 2022. And prior to that, he was the assistant and special teams coordinator for the Vikings from 2013 to 2021. When it comes to punt or kick coverage, their special teams has really been a mixed bag. So I see this as an opportunity to have Marvin Mims find his stride again after being contained the last couple of weeks. Cameron Dicker, who is an excellent kicker, has made the Pro Bowl this year, had a tough one against the Texans, missing an extra point and then also missing a 32-yard field goal in week 17. Not a normal day for him. Their normal punt returner, Darius Davis, is likely also out in this one, so they'll be relying on Keandre Lambert-Smith to return the football. This should be a fun one, y'all. And though we don't have some key starters playing for the Chargers, Week 18 is still exciting because it's an opportunity for our Broncos to refine their game and find their stride before going into the playoffs. And the biggest part of it all, securing the number 1 seed throughout the playoffs. For Mile High to have the opportunity to host a playoff game would be electric. They're already starting to establish a reputation as one of the tougher places to play. And that's how it used to be in Broncos country. Awesome to see that coming back. Why not let that start in week 18? What are you excited about for this matchup in week 18? What would you like to see from the Broncos heading into the playoffs? Let me know in the comments. As always, be kind. Talk to you soon, Broncos country.